The tomatoes are just about there. Not quite ready, but close. Dustin's out in the heat, checking the rows, pulling weeds, making sure the plants have what they need to finish strong. It's hot, the kind of hot that slows you down. But the work doesn't stop, so neither does he. This is where the real season starts.
As you could see, the way I've done cherry tomatoes for many, many years, it works, but I know there's a better way. So we have Miss Andrea out here today to teach us about a trellis system, and then teach us a little bit more about tomatoes than what I know. I know how to make them look like this and to get fruit, but to make them prolong and last, these things are going to grow 2 more months. So to make them what they need to be. So what are we doing here?
Usually what we're going to do in a greenhouse tomato, we chose a tomato that's an indeterminate type tomato, and we will prune it aggressively in order to get it to produce more fruit. That's our goal. I mean, a big bushy plant is amazing, but we want this plant to take all of its energy and put it into ripening and producing its fruit. So as a rule on all my tomatoes, whether I'm in the greenhouse or outdoors, primarily outdoors, I like to limb up and get rid of all the foliage below the knee. That's going to help us increase airflow, remove the older foliage that could have insect pressures and insect issues, and it also is being shaded out at the bottom anyway, so it's not really acting like a solar panel to fuel the rest of the plant. Outdoors, you have a lot of issues with blight. When the rain comes, hits the ground, splashes up on the lower leaves, you can get blight and fungal issues. So I say limit up, increase airflow. Also in the greenhouse, what we tend to do is when we have our tomatoes, we'll have our main line, our main stem that'll come off, and we'll prune all of the suckers off of a main stem and attach the main stem to a spool with vine clips and push it down. So it will never hit the ceiling and top out and become damaged. It will just, the top of the plant will get pushed over in front of the base of this plant that's also going to be pushed over, and you train it down the line to create the fruit hanging off, and that one main line will continue to produce, continually till the end of the greenhouse, and you circle them around. So we're starting off here kind of late in the journey with the bushiness, and I hate to cut off any of these leaders that actually do have fruit that are developing on it. So we're gonna try and do sort of a hybrid method where we still retain some of these good fruit clusters, but we're gonna take a lot of this stuff that's smaller and not producing yet tremendously out. So our plants can focus on the main lines and the fruit that are already existing on the plant. And it seems naked, like, as we were talking, you were saying, oh, it seems so naked, but it takes, not much more than 3 leaves to keep a tomato plant going. And we're not really interested in supplying energy to any of these underneath branches or any of these branches that aren't producing. We want to be growing tomatoes, not leaves. So we're coming in and aggressively pruning in order to tighten things up and also make the space just a more workable and manageable space.
You have to,
eventually.
You have to crawl. I mean, usually when I'm in here, this is kind of early, but when I'm in here picking, 4 feet in, you can't see me no more. So
yeah,
it's fun to be like in a tomato magical world of your own.
Absolutely. But if you were to get insect issues or some sort of pressures of something like that, how are you going to get in there and manage it?
Yeah.
And it can be, and sometimes when you don't see those inside areas nearly as often, things can hide in there, problems can hide and get out of control before you discover them. So.
Or which one it's coming from.
Yeah.
Tracking
That too. So, and it's okay. These plants are super resilient. You can hack these things, even if you're in a greenhouse and you have a main leader and you cut its head off accidentally. Oh crap. what's going to happen? It's going to shoot out another sucker on the side,
Yeah.
and it's going to continue to go on. It might not go on as quickly as it would have, but there's really nothing wrong. You can't do anything wrong. You can't make any terrible mistakes that you can't come back from, you know, with time.
The little bit that I've learned today is what I'm gonna go through is I'm just gonna chop off a lot of the bottom foliage, especially the ones that don't have a lot of the fruit to them. Clean them up, great, give it a little more airflow in there because it is already pretty clustered in there. It is pretty congested. So the more airflow we can get through there, the better, the less chance for disease. So that's definitely gonna help one. And then because it is so tall and it's taller than the cage, so that's basically why I had her out here. Once this tomato gets taller than the tomato cage, I never knew what to do with it. I didn't know what the heck to do. I've seen people trellis them before with the strings, so that's when she knows what she's doing with that stuff. I'm very, very, very grateful she come. I never thought I could get her out here, honestly. So we got her out here, and she showed us how to do the clip system. So you're basically clipping the main leader, running that leader down, stretching it to the side, so that way your plant can keep on continuously growing, and you're doing it over and over and over and over, giving your plants the best ability, the best environment to grow and least amount of disease.
Is this your main focus right now, all these tomatoes?
It is. Tomatoes are probably our, other than hot sauce, our main source of like garden income. My systems have to get better for start building. And even with this stuff too, this will continue to grow, and I normally just manage, there's a little bit, I don't know how to manage it past where it's at now. So I just dealt with it basically, and I dealt with it to the point where it did great. I just had to do army crawling and weaving in and out of plants and breaking some as I go through. And
got to do a little bit of crowd control now.
yes.
How many plants do you have?
75 tomato plants in there, so 75 cherry plants.
You guys worked on one plant for an hour.
So it's gonna be a long while. We got Mom in from Florida now, so we can keep Mom busy. And Mom
Is she gonna be out in the garden or watching the kids?
She's